Meditation. Tonight we're going to be doing Satanama, and I do this every morning to the soundscape on the television. I just turn it on and let that beautiful music stay on all morning while we're having breakfast, and I meditate to it with Satanama. And I find a way to do it with everything they're playing. It just takes me to another place. So we're going to do it to background music that's just very mystical. But I just want to read you a little bit about it. Each time you do sa, ta, na, ma. And sa, each time you close a mudra, which is closing the thumb with a finger, your ego seals this effect in your consciousness. So, you can imagine what this is doing if you do this every morning for like 12 minutes. We won't be able to do 12 minutes tonight, but 12 minutes is really the time you should do it. And then go into silence, and then also send the healing out. Every single time after you do meditation, send it out. Sa is the beginning, infinity. Ta is life, existence. Na is change and transformation. Ma is rebirth, regeneration. Satanama is so primal that its impact on your psyche is like splitting an atom. The power of this mantra comes from the fact that it rearranges the subconscious mind at the most elementary level. It has the power to break habits and addictions because it accesses the level of the mind where habits are created. So, once I found this technique, it just really centers me, because I'm a really active person, and I like to be doing something. And so this helps me just be doing something while I'm going into the silence. Okay. Sa. Let me get the right note. I want to be sure with it. Sa ta na ma. 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 Sa
Nama everyone. Our journey into the enlightened state of being is measured in increments of peace. One can tell how far along he or she is on the spiritual journey by the amount of peace that one now is able to sustain. The Master of Life spoke about peace in a number of ways. In one way, he said that the peace of the spiritual truth it surpasses the peace of the world. He had this to say about peace in general. This is from the Gospel of John, chapter 14, verse 27. Peace I leave with you, my peace I give to you. Not as the world gives, do I give to you. Let not your hearts be troubled, neither let them be afraid. My peace I give to you, not as the world gives, do I give this peace to you. When you look at a passage like that, it doesn't take too much speculation to realize that there is another kind of peace. He is giving peace, he is speaking to peace that is not the peace of the world. Not as the world gives peace, is what he's saying. And we know that in the world, a person only has peace when his or her personal expectations are being met. When someone's desires and demands are being met, that person has peace. But it's a fleeting peace. Doesn't mean it's a sustaining peace. Doesn't mean it's a deep peace. It means that momentarily that person is okay with the way things are. But the peace being offered by the Master of Life, who represents the Christ within us, our true nature, is a peace that surpasses the understanding of the world. It's a peace that is not contingent upon circumstances. That means that it doesn't matter what conditions or circumstances are occurring in one's experience, that one, if he or she is in the truth consciousness, is not thrown from his or her peace. That one has peace regardless of circumstances. And we know that peace is something all of the masters down through the ages spoke about as being the ultimate test of our spiritual awareness. And without peace, if a person doesn't have peace, it doesn't matter what else that person may be accomplishing in the world, it's not necessarily that rewarding. Sometimes I put it this way. Could you ever believe yourself to be in the kingdom of heaven and not have peace? In other words, it's not possible to have entered that state of consciousness without peace, true peace of mind, true peace of insight, understanding. So, the Course in Miracles speaks directly to this. Let me share this with you from the Course. This is on page 278. It's paragraph 3. In the new edition, it's on page 299. Think not you understand anything until you pass the test of perfect peace. For peace and understanding go together and never can be found alone. Each brings the other with it. For it is the law of God, they be not separate. They are cause and effect, each to the other. So where one is absent, the other cannot be. This is a very direct and cogent statement. Think not you understand anything until you pass the test of perfect peace. For peace and understanding go together and never can be found alone. Each brings the other with it, for it is the law of God, they be not separate. They are cause and effect, each to the other. So where one is absent, the other cannot be. That is why we do our spiritual practice. We, in the unity sense, or the unity movement, are what we call karma yogis. We do not withdraw to an ashram or a monastery or a convent. We do not withdraw from the world in order to find true enlightenment or peace. We remain in the world, but we move our awareness away from the thinking of the world. We are no longer involved in living as the people who are living in the unenlightened state of the world, who are tossed to and fro by every changing circumstance in their lives. There's no true peace there. There's, as I said, a fleeting moment of peace here or a fleeting moment of peace there when things are going according to an unenlightened person's expectations. But if you want a life truly worth living, you cannot be affected by all the changing tides of circumstances. Your state of mind is really what you want to sustain in the awareness divine. So with spiritual practice, we are practicing that state of mind that is not shifted, moved, or broken by anything taking place in the outer-directed, illusion-driven world. It seems in the surface New Age teaching that spirituality, enlightenment, has to do with mind over matter. If you program your mind, as they seem to intimate in that very interesting video, The Secret, if you program your mind and focus your mind on a particular element that you want out of the world, it will come to you. That's not the way one achieves enlightenment, because no one can sustain that, and no one can make the world produce one's personal dictates and demands. But one can transcend the state of mind that the world lives in. One can become so involved in feeling the oneness of God in everything, looking beyond the differences in everything, looking beyond the changing tides and circumstances that lift people up and then cast them down. By looking beyond them, we see only the outworking of this divine peace, because we look past the seeming confrontations and the abuses that seem to come to us. We look past them, and then we apply the absolute function of spiritual application, which is forgiveness. So we not only we don't make anybody's error real. We don't make it something that has to be punished or resisted even. What we do make it is something we'll look beyond, so that we stay in a blessed state of mind. People talk about spiritual healing. Well, that's where it actually happens. in the blessed state of mind, we are not only sustaining our own peace and healing and wholeness, but we are capable of healing those around us who may not be open to the idea of the presence of God in every single moment. And so, when we hold a blessed state of mind in which we bestow forgiveness in every situation where some conflict is occurring, some difficulty, some fear is being acted out, some anger, some vendetta is being pursued, if we look past that and not as though it's something being done to us that needs to be upbraided or taken care of or punished, if we look past it and say, peace, be still. If you took that affirmation, peace, be still, and used it whenever someone is really out of sorts with himself or herself, and just held that thought in that awareness. You don't have to say it. You just have to hold it. Peace. Be still. And that's the way we heal ourselves and become instruments of healing in the world. Because true peace is our goal in every situation. And we don't give it up for the ego-centered idea of being right, or proving ourselves right, or getting even with someone who seems to be doing something precarious or wrong. We don't do that. We practice the presence of God by practicing this blessed state of forgiveness, immediate forgiveness for whatever it is, looking past it, any seeming difficulty. And thereby, we grow in the ability to be in peace, and that ability actually reaches out to every person in every place in every condition that we enter. And so we have then the ability to live in the now moment. We realize how wonderful and joyful it is to be without concern and fear that's motivating us to try to get something better, something more, something new from the world. We slowly release all that and become one with God, become an emissary of peace, which is to be one with the will of God. And when you are there, you are demonstrating your understanding of this higher intelligence, this more refined level of awareness that one can enter, and transcending the world, overcoming the thinking of the world, not being involved in, caught up in, thrown this way and that way by the thinking of the world anymore. You've done your spiritual practice and you're able to carry it with you wherever you go, and you become an emissary of the divine. So people will say, at least you'll hear some people sometimes say, how can you be at peace in a world that requires so much of you? In other words, there's so much that we have to get done in this Western culture of ours in order just to keep up. I mean, we have to make a living, we have to go to work, and we have to take care of, the house or our apartment. We have to take care of our automobiles if we have one. And we have to be involved in doing so much just to keep up with what the culture we live in requires of us. But again, we need to know that it is not in keeping up or getting over on all the different conditions and circumstances that we are involved in. You see, what the mind is actually doing in the unenlightened state, the mind is dividing conditions and circumstances up into two categories. One category is, these are the things I like to do, and therefore the things I want to do. But then there are the things that I have to do, and I don't necessarily want to do. And you may put different conditions in that particular idea. You know, my work, it's something I have to do. I don't necessarily want to do it. I may not even necessarily like it. But I have to do it in order to make enough money to feed myself or my family, take care of my conditions in my home, my business. And so we have these categories in the mind. There are things that I want to do, and there are things that I have to do. And so we are being shifted back and forth. So quite often when we're doing the things we have to do, we're in a state of resistance. We're in a state of agitation. In that state, quite often we have conflicts with other people because we are involved in doing what we really don't want to be doing. And so, what do you think would be the best way to enter the state divine, which is the state of peace? We can actually open the mind to make the things that we have to do the things that we want to do. This is something I think you should practice, and you will find such rewards in doing it. Make the things that you have to do every day the things that you want to do. And the way to do this is to do every single thing that's required of you, to do it wholeheartedly, to give your full attention to doing it well, to doing it as best as you possibly can. And then when you pursue life moment to moment to moment, doing whatever you do wholeheartedly, fully, focusedly, what will happen is you will have such a state of peace of mind, you'll have such a blessed state of joy and happiness that you'll wonder to yourself, why didn't you ever think of this before? Why did I always think that I had to get something better, something more, something new? When really, all I had to do was accept the moment and live it wholeheartedly. Give it my utmost attention. If people that are sometimes disagreeable to you, or there's people that you'd rather not be running into at a certain time, that's the time when you have to do your spiritual practice. That's the time when you give your complete focused attention to such people. And you'll find that as you do that, you will feel a sense of joy and peace and spaciousness that comes to you. And you'll begin to realize that all of the things that really irked you and made you feel, you've lost your sense of mind or you've lost your peace, all of those things are generated from within you and have nothing to do with what is happening outside of you. And so the whole process has to do with a transformation in our awareness, how we look upon things. And that's a very good practice, to make the things that you have to do, to make the interruptions that quite often throw us for a loop, make those interruptions things that you want to deal with. Oh, it's here in my life. Oh my goodness, okay, sure. I can do that. I'll give it my utmost attention. And you'll be surprised how often the guidance that you need to deal with a difficult situation comes right to you like that. You know exactly what to do, how to do it, what to say, when to say it. But it takes willingness to do that kind of practice. You have to be willing to understand that there is a divine plan for us to find lives truly worth living. But it comes with a transformation in our own awareness. So Eckhart Tolle will say this, modern day master Eckhart Tolle, when you say yes to the isness of life, when you accept this moment as it is, you can feel a sense of spaciousness within you that is deeply peaceful. The yes to what is reveals a dimension of depth within you that is dependent neither on external conditions, not on the internal conditions of constantly fluctuating thoughts and emotions, but based upon the conditions of allowing. I'll read that to you again. When you say yes to the isness of life, that is, you're not in resistance to any of it. No matter how it comes or when it comes, you're saying yes to it. When you accept this moment as it is, you can feel a sense of spaciousness within you that is deeply peaceful. The yes to what is reveals a dimension of depth within you that is dependent neither on external conditions nor on the internal conditions of constantly fluctuating thoughts and emotions. One enters the moment by flowing with, allowing, flowing, and being in the moment, just as it is. And this is our calling. And if you really think that for some reason or other, some people, like maybe Eckhart Tolle, has a better opportunity at living the now moment, or maybe ministers do, and you may think that they have easier lifestyles, and so they can actually apply these spiritual truths a lot easier. It really doesn't matter what your particular occupation may be, or your status financially, or where you find yourself in the great scheme of things. It doesn't matter. It's all about one's state of mind, how you live from within your awareness. So it doesn't matter if you're a high-profile business executive, an auto repair person, a busy mother with children, or a lowly shepherd, or a school teacher, or a hospice nurse, or an engineer, or a computer expert. It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter if you're an entrepreneur or a doctor. Doesn't matter if you're a lawyer. Doesn't matter if you're doing just menial work. It's one state of mind that in the doing, you do it wholeheartedly. You give yourself to the doing of it without resistance to it. You see, when you have resistance in your mind, you're making what is being done impossible and more difficult than it has to be. So, it is our calling from the teachers of the truth down through the ages that we should experience what it means to be alive, free of fear, free of the limited feelings that are generated by resistance to what is taking place in our lives, and come into the divine consciousness, being a divine emissary, someone who is not tossed to and fro by every changing tide of circumstances, but someone who is there that brings the light of truth to everyone that one enters into relationship with. You bring the light of truth because you're not perturbed. You're not upset. You're not thrown. You're not complaining. You're not gossiping. You're not fearing. You're allowing. You're living. You're blessing. And in so doing that, you are healing not only yourself, but you are healing the consciousness of the world. And that's the way we find our way into that kingdom of heaven that Jesus said is in the midst of you. It's in the midst of you. And so it is. Tonight we'll do our spiritual practice. We'll do our meditation. We'll listen to these beautiful Tibetan bowls that are calibrated to, align with the centers, the 7 chakras of the physical and mental body. And if we just listen to them and allow ourselves to be okay with allowing ourselves to be one with that beautiful sound, we'll begin to let go of that part of our thinking that is worried, afraid, struggling. We let that go. We start to let that go. Then we get to that period of silence. We can use, this particular thought. There is only one everything. Only one. In you, in me, in everything we see, there is only one. Only one. Only God. Only God. We go forth from this meditation to those places we occupy in time and space. Let us go forth with a greater determination to practice the truth, flowing with the moment, blessing the moment, and living in the divine state of peace. For this opportunity in every moment, let us be thankful. And for this, let us say, Amen. We will take an offering for unity now. Oh, we're going to do the prayers first, okay. So as Norma calls the name of the person that's been submitted to our prayer list, you can simply let the thought go with the name, divine peace, divine peace.
Maddie, Charlene, Lloyd and Sharon Posnikoff, Corey Posnikoff, Olga Golding, Larry and Irene, Vi and Dawn, Joel and Grace Gutman, Kai V, Wouter Verhagen, Mark and family, Lynn Jordan, Ryan Jordan, Cassie Jordan, Garrett Williams, Nicole Williams, Geo Williams, Steve Taylor, Teresa Nehemias Rodriguez, the Drake family, Cozy the puppy, Doug and Faith Durr, Joey and Michael Thielander, Kevin and Mary Arthur Young, Bob Bilyeu, Danny and Terry, Sherry and Devin, Dave and Leanne, Neil and Donna, Larry and Mira Morrison, Arenya River White, Hillary Annie Rains, the families affected by the Texas ice storm, Daniel Rivard, Dan James, Melinda Malik, all COVID patients and workers, the air, water, earth, all life on planet Earth. And you can call out a name at this time if you so desire. Kate Beltrami. You see this healing light surrounding the prayer box. And all the people whose names have been submitted, we see them healed, physically, mentally, and spiritually. Don Barchet.
As we go forth now from this meditation, let us go forth with a greater determination to practice the divine ideal of peace, to flow with the moment and bless the moment, however it appears to us. And for this opportunity in every moment, let us give thanks. And to this we say, Amen. We will take an offering for unity now. And the way we do it, with our restrictions, we simply bring to mind that financial gift we'd like to make to Unity of Boulder so that we can continue the ministry here and do the work that we do every day, every week. And as we bring to mind that financial gift, those of you that are watching this online on a screen, you can scroll down and find that place where you can hit that particular flag, and then it will show you how to donate to Unity of Boulder. So now we bring to mind that financial gift and we bless it with this affirmative prayer. Divine love, through me, blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive, because I give. And so it is.
Gayuwani, Gayuwe, Gayuwani, Gayuwe, Wehio, Hiali, Awine, Gainawia, Heya. Gayuwani, Gayuwe, Gayuwani, Gayuwe, Wehio, Hiaya, Awine, Gainawia, Heya. Ho, 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 ho.
Thank you all for joining us this evening. Carry this good, beautiful feeling into your lives. And to all of you, good night.